want to give a quick heads up before the video starts. This video series is going to come out every Monday and Friday. Go follow on Twitter to make a decision on where this channel may go in the foreseeable future. What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be covering Spide-Gwen's Out of the Spider-Verse issue. Now, it's just a single issue, so it's going to be a rather short thing. So our story kicks off with Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane Watson with their band, the Mary Janes. And Mary Jane is basically getting really ticked off because she can't come up with a good hook for the song Face Tiger. And while drumming, Gwen thinks of where everything started. And we basically find out that in this reality, Gwen Stacy was bitten by the radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker. Now, that is pretty weird right off the bat. Okay, then Peter basically discovers Spider-Woman, which is what Gwen Stacy calls herself in this reality. Wanting to be like Spider-Woman, he's in love with the idea of the freedom of, just being able to just leave, and he's in love with the idea. So he injects himself with some serious Steve Rogers grade steroids, and turns himself into a giant lizard creature. Then, like in every reality, Gwen Stacy accidentally beat him to death, and in every reality, J. Jonah Jameson begins to lead a slander campaign against Spider-Woman. And basically, after it cuts away from that, we get to see her. She's getting very into drumming and zones everything out. And gets yelled at Mary Jane. "What are you doing, Def Leppard? I told you to stop 10 minutes ago." Then, getting angry, she just leaves. Then, she's sitting on top of a billboard and she thinks about how guilty she feels about Peter's death. Now, some of you may notice as we go over the story, over the course of this, basically, full story, Gwen feels very guilty about Peter's death and blames herself, and that is the real fight. It's less against Vulture or Matt Murdock. I love that nickname. And more about her dealing with the guilt, Peter's death. She then goes swinging into the city after she thinks about that, and we cut to her father, George Stacy, reading Stacy Stalks Spider Killer. Now, what this tells us is that Spider-Woman is wanted for the murder of Peter Parker, and that her dad is obsessed with taking her in for it. And we find out why that is in a couple issues, because he's very close with May Parker and Ben Parker. So we also find out in this reality that Uncle Ben was never murdered. Then we pick back up with Gwen Stacy, who then lands at a subway in her Spider-Woman costume, and is then halted by a police officer, and the officer attempts an arrest. And then Gwen just basically starts on him. And then the cop basically starts shooting at her after that. And, she then lays his hands up, and her father being the chief of police, she knows the code, and then she calls for backup. And whenever the backup gets there, well, she basically just runs away. And then a helicopter starts chasing her. And then after that, we cut to Matt Murdock and some person named Oleski. I don't know really much about the character. Okay, and Matt basically just shows Oleski. Oleski is a hitman and shows a picture of George Stacy and puts a hit out on him. And then we cut to the Mary Jane's concert. Now, this is basically where the story begins to wrap up. So, basically, Oleski gets up while Gwen isn't there yet. So she's getting ready to go, and George Stacy is there waiting on her to get there, and Oleski is there too, and he basically lays George Stacy out. And then he says that he's gonna break his chin last, and then gets webbed by Gwen. But he then breaks out and basically gives Gwen a huge hug, which is basically breaking her back. And shouts, "Dance with Oleski." He's Russian. Gwen breaks from the grip and beats him repeatedly, webbing his hand to the wall. Gwen then goes all out Hulk on him, punching him through a wall, and then Gwen's father points a gun at her. This is probably the most important part of the story. Okay, whenever Gwen's father points the gun at her, he's basically saying, "You are under arrest, or I will shoot if you try to leave." So, then she's basically trying to talk him down, and when that does not work, she takes her mask off. And in one of the most inspiring quotes in Marvel Comics, she says, and I quote, "Listen, you put your badge on every day. I put this mask on every day. That badge, that symbolizes hope. You want to protect the innocent and punish the guilty. That is exactly what I do. This mask is my badge. This mask represents hope." She then takes it off. And her father, well, he's shocked. and he says, just leave. And with that being said, next video we will pick up with this, or next video we're going to start with the 5-issue miniseries that this leads directly into. And we're going to cover that on Monday. So I do apologize. Okay, I'm going back and I'm looking at the video again. I do apologize. This video was supposed to go up at 12 a.m. per p.m. today. And I messed up, and it's going to go up at 12 a.m. I am so sorry. So the video is technically going up on Saturday, but I will post the video on Monday. So, I do very much so apologize for that. Goodbye, good night, and good game.